Hello and welcome to Tête-à-Tête, France 24's flagship interview show. Our guest today is Patrice Motsepe. He is the president of the African Football Confederation. Thank you very much for being our guest. Let's start with Kenya. We're in Nairobi. Kenya is one of the co-hosts of the next African Cup of Nations with neighboring Uganda and Tanzania. So a big question, this is in a year's time. Will all the countries be ready for yet another successful AFCON?
There's a huge amount of commitment by the heads of states of Kenya, of Tanzania, of Uganda. The ministers are working round the clock. There's an excellent team of CAF led by the acting general secretary. We've got people that are full-time in those countries. We set very high standards.
Will they be reached?
Well, those standards are very high, and it's very important. There's a huge commitment across the board, and I'm confident that those standards will be fulfilled.
And that it will be an even more successful AFCON.
You know what, let me tell you this. If they can, and we will at the very least match what happens in Morocco, it will be enormously successful. But what I like is there's a huge focus and a commitment to be even more successful, because you have to consistently improve. And every AFCON has to be better than the previous one. The AFCON the first AFCON I had was in Cameroon, very successful, despite all the challenges. The second AFCON was in Côte d'Ivoire, significantly better than Cameroon, but also enormously successful. And Morocco has taken us to a very high level, and I'm thankful to the people of Morocco, the government of Morocco, His Majesty King Mohammed VI, may God assist him, and our partners in football, Fauzi.
You mentioned how successful the competition was. However, there is a shadow hanging because of the finals. We all remember what happened. Senegal was declared winner. Then more than 2 months later, an appeals committee from the African Football Confederation declared Morocco winner, creating huge tensions, huge controversy. Now the ball is in the court of arbitration for sports. Do you think that whatever decision this instance will take, it will calm things down, or will the unhappiness remain?
Things are back to normal. We have learned from what happened in Morocco, and I have previously said I was deeply disappointed because it was the most successful AFCON. But what it exposed to us was the continuing sense of suspicion and distrust of our referees. We've done excellent work. You know, we had a partnership with FIFA. We professionalized the referees, the standards, the quality, the expertise, world class. And but there is still, in some quarters, the perception that there's improper influence. And it's clear, if we find any corrupt, improper behavior or conduct, we will take serious action.
You didn't find any with the referee from the final?
We didn't. But, you know, because, now let me tell you this. We called the head of the referees committee, the chairman, to come and give an account of the performance of the referee to the highest decision-making body in CAF, the EXCO. And he came and reported, and all of the leaders, about 22, 23, 24 presidents of member associations, which is countries on the continent, they asked him all sorts of questions, and because that's how it has to be. But I just want to conclude by saying I am confident that based on what has happened since the AFCON in Morocco, we are now stronger, more united than ever. And I have to respect not just due process, but also procedure. And I cannot comment on the decisions of the Court of Arbitration for Sport until the decision is made. But I'm I'm satisfied that whatever decision comes out of CAF, we will respect it. Listen, this is a democracy. All of those, every country, if there's a perception that there was behavior that's improper, has a right to go to the appropriate bodies in CAF, and we have to, and those bodies, and I have to stay away from them. We have to.
Right, but there is, many countries, Senegal and others, have said Morocco needed to win.
Senegal said Morocco needed to win.
Well, many people, many football commentators and some members of federations said, we felt there was a lot of pressure to have Morocco win this competition on the field or outside.
Just explain to me, why would there have been pressure for Morocco to win?
Because they're the host country and so on. No?
No.
You deny that there was any
Listen,
impropriety?
Listen, we are only as good as our reputation. And the reputation is not what I say. It's what ordinary football spectators and fans assess our behavior and conduct to be. And that is critically important. So we have to make sure at all times that in the minds of, you've got 1.6 billion people on the continent who love football. And as I said, we had 3 billion. We were enormously honored, 3 billion people. So it's important for us that in the minds of everybody who watched the AFCON, that it's clear that whoever won because they were the best and they deserve to win. We have to make sure that we train our referees and our VAR to be world-class, so that even when there's criticism, and sometimes there'll be justified criticism, legitimate criticism, that there's a proper evaluation, and where appropriate action needs to be taken, we do so.
Right. The finals referee, Jean-Jacques Ndala, has been designated to referee the first leg of the CAF Champions League final. However, both contenders, South African team that you know well, and the ASFAR have said, no, we don't want that referee because of what happened. So, I mean, they even question his legitimacy. I mean, what is your reaction to their calling him to be sidelined?
What you're saying is so important.
What you're going to say is more important.
No. What you're saying is more, because there are times when, number one, I'm president of CAF, and I have to respect the due process, the processes by which people are chosen. I also have to respect the decisions of our judicial bodies, the disciplinary board, the appeal board, the referees committee. Now, I can tell you, as a football fan, there are times when I sit there and I say, but how can they make this decision? How can they make this decision?
So tell us.
No, but let me explain to you. But I cannot interfere, so I cannot and should not and may not comment. Of course, I see what happens. Listen, I've got enough. I've had enough
trouble.
I've had enough complications, and I've had enough unnecessary complications. But I'm told that they've given their justification, that they've assessed.
All 54 CAF Federation members are backing FIFA President Gianni Infantino. You're smiling, for a new mandate in 2027. Why this unanimity? I mean, there have been accusations that Infantino has been the actual boss of African football.
That's absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. But I respect people's perceptions and their view, whether I agree or disagree. In fact, even if it's factually incorrect or false, people have a right to uphold their views. I mean, Gianni is a loyal and trustworthy supporter of world football and of African football. I need a partner.
And he's a good partner.
He's a very good partner. And with integrity, with honesty, this is what relationships are all about. Deep level of mutual trust, mutual respect, and a deep commitment for the development of football, not just in Africa, because it's in our interest for us in Africa, that European football grows and succeed, that football worldwide grows and succeeds. So I'm very proud of Gianni. He's got our unanimous support. I think he's done excellent work, and he will continue to do a good job.
Just quickly, because we're running out of time, the World Cup, 10 African countries will participate. You mentioned that Morocco already reached the semifinals. Are you concerned about some visa restrictions for players, fans, or even federation officials? We know the US is quite tough.
It's a very important question. And there's been lots of engagement, and Gianni's done a very good job there. And FIFA
with President Trump.
And FIFA has done a very good job. There's a total commitment by the American government in particular, as well as by Canada and Mexico, to welcome football players, football spectators, football fans from all over the world. It's a celebration.
Is an African country going to win the World Cup this year?
Well, I can, you are very young, 50 years younger than me. So I'm confident that an African country will win the World Cup. African country will win the World Cup. And we have to aspire higher and higher. We went to the semifinals, but you must also recognize world football it's tough now. Our objective is to make sure that an African country succeeds and is champion of the world. Because if you succeed at that level, then there's concomitant respect and acknowledgement, and also an element of pride and achievement amongst the 1.6 billion citizens and inhabitants of the African continent, and those in the diaspora as well.
Patrice Motsepe, I want to thank you very much for being our guest here on France 24 from Nairobi in Kenya. Thank you all for watching this show.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci à vous.
Merci beaucoup.